Okay, so what we're going to do is we're still in the review process. We're reviewing stuff that we did last year that may be a little bit, you may be a little rusty in. And with Isabella as well, she probably hasn't learned this, and that's why I'm recording it, just so that she can see it, because she's missing today. Systems of equations review. First of all, what are systems of equations? Okay, well, what are they? What are they? What does it mean when you say systems of equations?
Systems of equations. So that means like what? Wait, isn't it like commutative properties and stuff like that? Yeah.
Is it what? Say it again.
Does that have anything to do with like commutative properties? Or like what order stuff goes in?
No. What's a stereo system include? What does a stereo system include?
Class.
Right. What does a stereo system include? You got to have what? Speakers, right? What else? Speakers, what else? What? You got to have a tuner of some sort. You got to have something, right?
You gotta have a plug-in outlet.
Okay, you got a cord. You have to have a plug-in. You have to have a plug-in outlet. You've got to have a DVD player, right? You've got to have surround sound. You've got to have all these cool things, right? In order to be really, I don't know, Wi-Fi, right? Some kind of a Wi-Fi system with this. I don't know. But anyways, system means more than one thing. So, Ron, last chance. Last chance. Sit in the chair I told you about.
But you moved me over here.
I did not. I moved you to
Yeah, my binder was right here and you.
I know. So you moved over there and I moved your binder
Well,
back.
I think you
Come on,
said.
just move over. I just said, yes, stay in that bar chart. Thank you so much. No, I didn't. Okay, so system means more than one thing. More than one thing. So if I say systems of equations with math, what's an equation?
4 plus 4 equals 8.
Right, something with an equal sign, right? Yeah, right, something with an equal sign. So then what would systems of equations mean?
Like the system of the equation, like there's an equation, and then
System
there's
means
like
what? System means there's more than one.
Yeah. Like we
So,
have,
systems of equations means there's more than one equation,
like
right?
we have our system in school, there's more rules than one.
Right. So if I gave you something like this, y is equal to x plus 7, and then y is equal to 2x plus 3, and I asked you to solve this, well, there's two ways you could do it. You could graph it, right? The trouble with graphing is not very accurate, and it might or might not be solvable by graphing. So y is equal to 1x plus 7. I go up to 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I put a dot, and then I go up 1, over 1, dot. There's my line, right? I'm not being very accurate right now. Right? So that's one line. Now I've got to graph the other line, okay? Graph the other line. 3, and then rise 2, run 1, boom. Okay, so this looks to me like it's going to be, I don't know, something like that. So somewhere in here is my solution, right? Somewhere in here. But I don't know what that point is. Yes?
Circle them. Don't you circle and add them? Do the circling thing and then you're like combined?
Yeah. So the graphing thing is, I'm just explaining. So systems of equations, what you're looking for is where two lines intersect, right there. Right? Remember this? So in graphing you can see it, but sometimes it's not, if you don't have real graph paper, it's really hard to solve these. Really hard, right? And you've got to be very, very precise when you're graphing it. Otherwise, instead of, how a graphing grid is, right? If it falls right on a corner, awesome. But if it falls somewhere in the middle, bummer, right? Because then it's going to be a fraction. And there's no way you're going to be able to solve that with graphing. So there are algebraic ways to solve it, and there are two methods in particular. Who's making this noise?
I'm not making noise, but I'm asking a question.
Yes.
I don't really understand why you just wrote what you wrote, like the graph thing. I didn't really understand what the whole graph
So systems of equations, when you're asked to solve a systems of equations, you're actually asked to find where the two lines on a graph cross. Okay? Find that point, that is where they
Okay,
both
alright.
touch,
Alright, I
right?
get it, I get it.
And so, using a graph, it's possible, it's just hard, right? It's not very accurate. So, using algebra, it's much more accurate. So there are two methods. There's one's called substitution, the other's called elimination, right? And so, with substitution, you're always looking for y equals or x equals,
Okay.
right? So which one of these, so
It would
take
be
notes,
y
guys.
equals.
Take notes.
It would be y equals.
So notice this one says y equals x plus 7, right? And this one says y equals 2x plus 3. They both say y equals, right? So it doesn't matter. I'll circle whatever, one of them, all right? Let's say I circle this one, okay? That is the same thing as y. You agree with me?
Yeah.
Caleb, you agree with me? And then, see the y in the other equation?
Yes.
All right, I am going to substitute, I'm going to circle this y, and I'm going to substitute this into this y. Does that make sense? So suddenly,
Substitution.
because then when I do that, let's see what happens. I've got x plus 7 is equal to 2x plus 3. Do you guys agree with me? Now, here we have two equations with two unknowns, an x and a y. But by doing the substitution method, suddenly we only have one equation and one variable. Do you see that? And you can always solve for that variable when you have one equation and one variable. So let's do it. So we're going to I'm going to get my x's on the same side. I'm going to subtract that x. And that gives me 7 is equal to x plus 3. I'm going to subtract 3. And then 4 is equal to x, right? So I know x is 4. X is equal to 4. Am I done? Am I done? Why am I not done, Caleb?
Have to graph it.
No? Why am I not done?
No, because you have
What?
to, act like the y thing.
Yeah, I have to know what the y is, right? I have to know what the y is. So I just plug it in here. Y is equal to x plus 7. Well, if x is 4, 4 plus 7, what's that?
11.
Right. So y is equal to 11. Now you can leave your answer like that, or you could write it as a coordinate point. You could say 4, 11, where you put the x first and the y second. Either one of those are acceptable answers.
Okay.
Okay, does that make sense?
Okay. Well, how do you know which one to choose?
The simpler one.
What do you mean?
Like, okay, so on the top there's y equals x plus 7, and then there's y equals 2x plus 3. You just choose the simpler one, is that it? That's what you do?
You can choose, if they both are y equals, you can choose either one.
Oh,
Makes no
okay, I
difference.
realize that. Alright.
But sometimes one of them is in y equals and one of them is not. One of them might be in standard form. 2x plus 3y equals 5. See what I'm saying? Right? So when they're both y equals, it just becomes this equals this, right? Because y is equal to y, this is equal to this, right? And that's what it is. All right, so that would be the first example. Can I erase?
Yeah.
You guys have it down? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Number 2. So guys, I'm just going to remind you, this is a video, so let's keep it quiet. What if I gave you something like, well, we'll keep it simple for now. Y is equal to 2x minus 8, and I've got 8x plus y is equal to 22. What would I do? And I'm asked to solve this system. Is this a system, first of all? A system of equations, it means more than one equation, right?
Wait, don't you just need to move the 8x to the other side? You just need to move.
Well, that's a great question. Do I need to? I could, but do I need to? Is there one equation that already says y equals or x equals?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, so let's just circle what y equals. Y equals that. And then we circle the y in the other equation, and we're going to substitute. I know y is exactly that. So I'm going to substitute that y into this y.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
this.
I remember how to do
Remember
that.
this?
Yeah.
So
and then
suddenly-
you do that stuff.
And now I'm going to rewrite. And so I'm going to rewrite this equation with that in place of the y. So I've got 8x plus 2x minus 8 is equal to 22. And now I solve it.
Oh.
8x plus 2x is 10x. Minus 8 is equal to 22. Add 8 to both sides. Right? 10x is equal to 30. Divide by 10. X is equal to 3. Alright? Am I done?
No, boy.
What do I have to do, Raven?
You do it turns into y equals 2.
Okay.
Whoa, whoa.
So,
minus b.
now how do I find my y? How do I find my y?
You
Kira, how do I find my y? Yeah, you can plug it into either equation. It's just that, see how this one's easier because it's already set up. It says y equals, and that's what you want to know. What is y equal? Y equals 2 times 3, right? 2 times 3 is 6, minus 8. What's that? 6 minus 8 is negative 2. So y is equal to negative 2. Okay, fist of 5. You guys getting this? Make sense?
I am a 4.5.
4.5? Awesome. That's pretty good. All right. Now, what if I did this? I'll do this over here. 2, 3. What if I gave you this one? 2y is equal to 8x minus 2, and 6x minus 2y equals 16.
Okay.
All right. All right. What do I do?
Is this substitution?
I'm looking for y equals or x equals. Is there, Tom, what would you do?
Okay, so don't you replace the 2x with the 8x minus 2? Because it says 2x, 2y, or not 2x, sorry, 2y.
Well, yeah, actually, that is something you could do. But normally, I would look for at y equals. I would convert this to y equals. We just happen to have this situation. All right, let me change it. Oh, no, I can't change it. Okay, we'll use that. All right, we notice that 2y is equal to that. Well, here's the 2y, and this is what 2y equals, so we could replace that. Exactly.
Do you replace all of it or just the y or just the 2?
You're gonna, since
never mind.
this equals 2y, I've got to think, but what is the problem? What is the big thing where the place where everybody's gonna make a mistake?
The 6x
Negative.
minus 8x.
The negative sign, right?
Right.
So when you plug it in, you've got to use parentheses. If I just did this, 8x minus 2 equals 16, why would that be wrong?
You can't do it.
Because look, it's minus all of this. It's not just minus the 8x. And then the minus 2. Notice this is a minus 2 here. But as soon as I put a parenthesis, negative times negative becomes positive. Do you see what I'm saying? If negative times 8x is negative 8x, negative times negative 2 is positive 2. Do you see what I mean? Those parentheses are essential. And then, so now we've got to do 6x. I've got to get rid of my parentheses. Negative 8x plus 2 is equal to 16. Right? 6x minus 8x is negative 2x plus 2 is equal to 16. Subtract 2, subtract 2. Negative 2x is equal to 14. And then divide by negative 2.
Two out of x?
What?
I'm so confused.
How does the y?
Wait.
No, the
Caleb, tell me where you're confused.
Okay, so what happened to the 8x? Like,
It's right there, kid.
yeah, but then if we,
So what is 6x? So Caleb, if I had 6 x's,
I'm confused.
if I had 6 x's and somebody took away 8 of them, I'd have negative 2 x's left. 6 minus 8 is negative 2.
Okay, that's negative.
Okay, there you go. Right?
It's negative 7.
So suddenly, guys, this is a video. X is equal to negative 7.
Can we do another problem like that, please? No.
No.
We need to figure
No.
out.
So let's figure out what our y is.
No.
So let's figure out what our y is. So 2y.
Guys,
Guys, this is a video. You get it, right? A video. Got to be quiet. So 2y is equal to 8 times negative 7. 8 times negative 7 minus 2, right? And so we've got to solve for y. So 2y is equal to, what's 8 times 7? Talk about blanking out, right? Did I do that right? I hope I did that right.
Yeah.
So 2y is equal to negative 58, right? Negative 2, if the signs are the same, you keep the sign and add the number, right?
Okay.
I'm
Right?
confused.
I'm confused.
Okay, who's confused?
I'm confused.
No, I'm just like,
No, I'm not confused, Gary. It's okay. It's okay.
So I just plugged negative 7 into x, right? And I'm just solving for y.
oh, okay, that's what you're doing.
That's
I was
all
like,
I'm
are you
doing.
on another problem? All right.
No, I'm trying to figure out what my y is, right?
Okay.
So 2y is equal to negative 56 minus 2. 2y is equal to negative 58. Divide by 2, divide by 2. Caleb, shh. Y is equal to negative, let's see, 2, 9, right? Is that right? Negative 29. So there's my two answers. X is that, Y is that.
Whoa, dude, that's
Okay?
crazy.
Now, what I would have done, I mean, this was, Tom had noticed that 2y and 2y were the same number, the same thing. So he just substituted that whole thing in. But usually, you've got to turn one of these into y equals, right? Meaning I could have divided this by 2, divided this by 2, and divided this by 2, and I would have gotten this. Y is equal to 4x minus 1. And that would have been way easier on this end. You see what I mean? To solve for y. You get it? Am I confusing people? Fist of 5? You get it? Fist of 5. Fist of 5. Rowan, fist of 5. Caleb, fist of 5. Come on, guys, come on! This is my video. Fist of 5. Come on, I want to see it. Gosh. All right. It's a little embarrassing, guys, putting this out to the whole world when you actually act like this. It's ridiculous. You know? I'm trying to help you guys. I'm trying to help you understand what to do in these situations. Now, what if I gave you something like this? Negative x plus y is equal to 4. And 2x plus 3y is equal to 37. What would I do? What am I looking for? What am I looking for? Allie, what am I looking for? Whenever I solve by substitution, I'm looking for an equation that says x equals or y equals. Right? Do any of those say that?
No.
So is there an equation I could easily make to say x equals or y equals? Okay, this one is a little hard, but could I just by adding x to both sides, couldn't I make this y equals? Couldn't I just get rid of this x by moving it to the other side, right? See what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Right? So if I added x to both sides, I'll just do it down here. Negative x plus y is equal to 4. I'm going to add x. That gives me y is equal to x plus 4. You get it? Yes? You see what I'm doing? Okay? Y is equal to x plus 4. So that's my y equals. Here's my second equation. Here's my y, though. Look at my y. It's not the 3y, it's just the y that I'm circling. You with me? This is now going to be replaced or substituted into that y.
Is okay if
Is everybody understanding? Yes.
See if I can do somewhere else. My cam's in the way.
Yeah, you can move back. Just figure out where you can see.
I can see right.
Okay, good. See, does everybody see what I did? I took this equation and all I did is I added x to both sides. So I got y is equal to x plus 4. Now I have the y equals, right? And so I circle what y is equal to, and then I circle just the y, not the 3 in front of it, just the y. And then I've got to substitute this in for the y. And again, am I going to have to use parentheses or not?
Yes.
Definitely, because it's a blob, right? I've got to. It's a binomial. So I've got to say 2x, right, plus 3 parentheses. Instead of y, I'm going to write the x plus 4 equals 37. Okay?
Wait, here.
Well, why?
Right? Everybody with me on this?
Yeah.
Raven, you get it?
I get
I saw your.
Yeah, I got it now.
You got it?
I
Okay.
had to look.
Right. So all I'm doing is just rewriting this with, instead of a y, I'm putting this in its place. Right? That's all I do. Right? And so now to solve this, I've got to get rid of my parentheses. So I got to use my distributive property. So I have 2x plus 3x plus 12 is equal to 37. Right?
Yeah.
2x plus 3x is 5x.
Yeah.
I'm going to subtract 12 right now. So I have 5x is equal to 25. Divide by 5, that gives me x is equal to 5. Right? So there's my x. What's my y? Wouldn't it be easiest to go to this one? Since it already says y equals?
Y would be 9.
Yeah, 5 plus 4 is 9. So y is equal to 9.
Oh, I get it.
You see what I mean? All we're doing is just remember, in all of these, you're going to be lucky in that in the homework, I think the first 4 have one that already says y equals. But then the next 2 don't. So you're going to have to manipulate them to say y equals. If I had done this one myself, I would have probably not done Tom's method. I would have solved for y first, made it say y equals, and then plugged it into just y.
Can we do Tom's method? Because the other way seems too confusing.
Yeah,
No, it
if you
really
see it, but very seldom are you going to see that. Raven, the only thing I'm saying is very seldom are you going to see that, where you have the exact same thing here and here.
Yeah, I just don't like that way. I see it, that way seems too difficult.
How did you get?
Right, but I'm saying it works in this case. It just won't work in most cases,
Okay.
right?
Why?
But you understand that you can do that. You can solve for y, right? Yeah, okay. What do you like? What I'm talking about over here?
No, it's just there's so many different. Oh.
No, it's not that bad. All you're doing is one of the equation has to say x equals or y equals. And if it doesn't, make it. And then you're ready to go. Don't you think the first, look at your notes, the very first example I gave you, wasn't that easy?
Yeah.
You just plugged in, you circled what y equals to, you plugged it into the other y, and you were done.
But now I just see like a jumble of like I don't see.
Right.
I can't find a y. I don't see how.
That's
did
a
you get
y right there.
Oh my god, that's where the problem starts.
That's a y.
Oh, you move the x to the other side.
Yeah.
You just move the x to the other side. You add x. Let's see what, look, I rewrote this one here. This equation is right here. You see that?
Yeah.
And then I added x to both sides. And that gave me y equals.
So -5 plus.
Wait, where are you saying? I don't see a negative
So then
5.
how did you? Well, no, because not -5, but 5.
This?
Yeah.
So, yeah, so I had this, right? I turned this into y equals x plus 4, right? I just added x to the other side, y is equal to x plus 4. Boom. Now I substitute that into the y here. So that's what I did, 2x plus 3 parentheses,
Yeah, no, I get that. I get that. I'm just.
and then I got x equals y. So now y is equal to 5 plus 4, which is 9. You got it? So it's really not that hard. To use substitution, they have to say y equals or x equals, one of the equations. If neither of them do, find the easiest one to convert into y equals or x equals and do it. And then it's a piece of cake from there. Does that make sense? All right, so I'm going to call the lecture done, and I'm going to let you guys work on the homework, okay? One last thing, maybe since I've got this, since this is just review, let's actually, there's one more thing I have to do. On the homework, this is not systems of equations now, but on the homework there are 2 word problems. Consecutive integer word problems. Let's just think about it. If 3 consecutive, this is number 1. 3 consecutive, oh God. 3 consecutive integers 2 plus 3 plus 4, 5, 9. Add to 9. Find the integers. So I'm asking you to not use the guess and check method. I'm asking you to use algebra. And the way you do it is do you know any of the numbers? I mean, when I first write it up like this? No. So what is the first number going to always be? When you don't know what it is.
1. 0.
It's just like yelling numbers.
Wait. Yes? X. Right? If you don't know what something is, if you don't know what something is, it's going to be a variable, right?
Letter.
So wouldn't that be 3x?
It's a letter.
It's 3x.
So guys, I think you'll remember this. But come on, I want to give you the homework, but you guys are taking so much time away by talking. X is my first number. Consecutive means right next to it. How far away is the next number from X?
Next to it.
Why?
How
Right
far?
next to it.
All right. If the three numbers are 7, 8, 9, from 7 to 8, what did you add to 7 to get to 8?
1.
Oh, so if I added 1 to X, I would get the next
Oh, I
number.
remember this.
And if I added 2 to X, I get the third number, right? All of them, when they say consecutive, 3 consecutive integers, they're all going to start like this, right? And then you add them together, you got 3x plus 3 is equal to 9. You subtract 3, you subtract 3. 3x is equal to 6. Divide by 3, x is equal to 2. So now I go back, and here are my 3 numbers. The number is 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. So I have 2, 3, and 2 plus 2 is 4. Those are my numbers. You got it? Remember this? Remember this? All right.
Turned out to be 3x, bro. Boom.
Now what if I did this? 4 consecutive odd integers integers. I'm trying to go fast and it's making me go slower. 4 consecutive odd integers add to, let me think, 1 plus 3 plus 5 plus 7. What's that? 1 plus 3 is 4 plus 5 is 9
That was so wrong.
plus 7 is 16.
Okay.
Add to 16. So find the integers. Find the integers. Okay, here we go.
Oh, wait.
So 1, 3, 5, 7. That's actually what the answer is. But we're figuring out our process first. To go from 1, if I don't know what my first number is x, right?
Yeah, and then
How
then
far
it's
do I go to get to the next one?
minus 1. Because
No.
it's negative.
1. Let's say my first number was 1. The next number would have to be 3, right?
Yeah.
So what do I have to add to 1 to get 3?
You have to add 2.
You have to have
What? You have to add 2.
You have to add 2.
How'd you get 3 though?
Because how do you get from 1 to 3? You have to add
Guys,
2.
what does consecutive odd mean? It means like 5, 7, 9, 11.
Oh, I
13.
get it.
Yes, we learned this last year. You do know
I
this.
know, I remember.
Okay.
Consecutive, so Raymond, consecutive means right next to.
Yeah.
Odd means it has to be an odd number.
Yeah.
So if you have 7, you only have 2 options. You have 5, which is an odd number next to 7, or you have 9, right?
Okay.
Right? So that's what we're doing. So if our first one is x, the second one is going to be x plus 2, because it's 2 away from the first one. Well, okay, so look.
Okay.
So think about it, Raven, think. If this one was, Raven,
Yeah.
if this one was 7,
Yeah.
the next odd number above 7 would be 9. Do you agree with me?
Yeah.
How did you get to? What did you have to
Oh,
add
you
to
add
7?
2. Okay.
You add 2. And then you add 4, right, from the first number.
Yeah.
And then you add 6,
Okay.
right? And so now you add these all together. That gives you 4x plus 12 is equal to 16. I'm going to subtract 12. That gives me 4x is equal to
Or
4, divide by 4, x is equal to 1. So my answer is 1, 3, 5, 7. Yes, remember these? Fist of 5. Do you guys remember this?
I remember these. I remember
Fist of
these.
5. Fist of 5.
I need to.
Right, it is.
Oh,
It is.
there.
This is about the simplest word problem I can give you. So I just wanted to start with these. All right. That is it.